A lot of people don't realize that I bought my 6.74 acres of farmland with a loan, but it was not a USDA loan. I am working with the USDA on obtaining possible grant money next month, as well as pursuing their high tunnel initiative, but that is totally separate from the loan that I took out to purchase the land that now houses my Amish barn. So in this video, I'm going to break down two different ways you guys can buy farmland this year without a USDA loan. I know there's a lot of uncertainty swirling around the USDA right now. People are very emotional and upset about it and writing a lot of things under my videos. So in this video, we are going to focus not on the USDA, but the system where I got my loan from. Most people are not aware that this system exists, even though it has been in our country for 100 years. It was established by Congress 100 years ago to make it easier for people to get involved with farming. Our government understood back then it would benefit all of us if more people were growing the food that we eat. We're staring down a crisis of some sort in this country right now, with the average age of the American farmer being over 60. $24 trillion worth of farmland is going to transfer hands starting now over the next 20 years. I personally believe it is a much better future if everybody gets involved with farming and gardening, not just a select few. There needs to be variation from where our food comes from. I think it would be a much brighter future if our food is being sourced locally, which means there is plenty of room for people to get involved with farming while most of the farmers retire in the next 20 years. So the loan that I have for my land that is all around me right now is with the Farm Credit System. My office in the Northeast is called Farm Credit East. It might have a different name depending on where you are in the country, so just simply Googling Farm Credit, whatever your region is, will spit out the name of the Farm Credit office where you are. My loan is with Farm Credit East. For my 6.74 acres, I opted to put 30% down. They had 20% down options. They did not have lower than 20% down options, and I did need to have a credit score of 620 or higher. If you're watching this and you go, oh, that's it for me, I don't have enough for 30% down, or my credit is crap, I'm going to give you another option in just a moment, so hang on with me. The best thing about Farm Credit was that I did not need prior farming experience. A lot of people get confused because they'll go on the USDA website and see that they need to have 3 years of farming experience to get one of these loans. That is not the case with Farm Credit. You don't need to have any prior farming experience, which, believe me, shocked me too when I called them up. I figured they were going to say to me, take a hike, lady, you've never planted plants before, we have no business issuing you a loan for farmland, much less wondering if you're going to actually turn a profit on it. Turns out Farm Credit doesn't care, not that they don't care, but it's not their responsibility to follow up with you that you are turning a profit with your farmland. They are just happy to issue the loan to you if you satisfy all of the loan requirements. I had to go through the normal process, like with any bank, of providing bank statements, tax returns, and again, letting them run my credit to determine if I was a reliable person to have borrow from them. I have broken this down in prior videos that I will link to below, where I go over more of the specifics related to my loan and what my monthly loan payment is to Farm Credit. I opted for a 10-year payoff structure simply because I just want to get it done, but there were longer options available to you. If you're wondering how they determine where they will issue these loans, it's based off of population. They actually use a tool on the USDA website to look up the address that you might have, and then they will tell you if it is in a rural area or not. If it's in a rural area, they will issue a farmland loan to you, again, based on you satisfying the loan requirements. I also recently learned that Farm Credit actually issues construction loans in farming areas as well. I paid for this barn out of pocket because I used the Amish. I worked with the Amish, and the Amish don't take loans or process credit cards. They take cash or check. So I had to pay for this out of pocket. I will also link to my Substack below, where I am breaking down the individual costs associated with this structure. But Farm Credit does issue construction loans. If you're thinking about buying raw land and you want to have some type of barn put on it, Farm Credit will also issue a loan for that. Again, if you have no prior farming experience. That has been just so mind-blowing to me that Farm Credit A does that, B, no one even knows Farm Credit exists, so I will passionately talk about Farm Credit probably until I die on here, because most people go to the USDA website not knowing there is an equally as powerful website that is nationwide, the Farm Credit System, available to them. If your credit is crap, if you don't have prior farming experience, but you still want to make this a reality, you're going to have to go direct to the farmers. And your second option is seller financing. So There's a lot under this umbrella when it comes to seller financing. There is looking up farmers that have already listed their land for sale. They're usually going to put it in local newspapers or bulletin boards. A lot of farmers are probably not going to be on fancy online directories. Some of them are. Some of them might list their land for sale on Zillow. That's how I found my land, and you could always contact them directly and ask if they are open to seller financing if you're not able to get a loan. I have had so many people write under my videos that they've approached farmers that are sitting on 500 acres and just simply can't afford it anymore with the rising costs of taxes, property taxes, all of that. They have reached out to the farmer saying, hey, I want to work 5 or 10 acres. Spoiler alert, 10 acres is a lot of land. You really don't need 10 acres, but if you want 10 acres, they've reached out to the farmer. The farmer agrees to crazy rates to just get the 10 acres off their hands, something like $50 down and $500 a month. The farmer is okay with accepting if you want to rent acreage from them. I recommend doing this if you are brand new to farming, if you don't have a lot of money behind you. I recommend renting the land to just get your feet wet, get familiar with the art of farming and gardening, and along the way, you're probably going to learn a lot from the master farmer on the property with you. Some farmers are putting their land into charitable remainder trusts, where they are renting or leasing out the land to a person and either allowing them to pay it off over 10 to 20 years or simply just giving it to them once the farmer passes on. If you're wondering how to find these deals, like I said, check in local communities, church websites, bulletin boards, newspapers, or go direct to the farmers. They're not going to bite you. I shop at so many local farm stores around me. I go to dairy farms, I go to orchards, and most of the time the farmer's there. It's usually just 1 or 2 people, usually a couple running it with very little help. And before you know it, I get to know these people. I start talking to them, and they are more than open. Trust me, they are more than open to striking up these types of deals. So it might involve you getting in your car, driving to them. If you try calling or emailing them, I can't guarantee they're going to pick up. They're busy. Driving to them, driving to their farm stores. To find their farm stores, just open up Google Maps, Apple Maps, type in farm. That's what I do. And I actually bounce around farms for fun as a pastime on the weekends. And next thing you know, you're going to know some farmers and be let in on some farmland deals that are available to you, and your credit does not need to be good for that option, and you don't need prior farming experience still. As for the USDA, I have never received a loan from the USDA, so I can't speak to the credibility or amazingness of their programs when it comes to loans. I've heard from people that they have had success with their USDA loan, but the barrier to entry usually is that you need 3 years of prior farming experience, which I didn't have, you probably don't have, and most people are not going to have. That we do need to get involved with farming, or at least providing some food to our community. So I recommend these 2 routes if you're considering doing it. I have nothing but positive things to say about Farm Credit. Nobody paid me to talk about Farm Credit today either. I just really enjoy working with them. Anytime I email them, they get back to me right away. They host summer picnics for everyone who holds loans that you can go to at fairgrounds. They send me quarterly roundups of recommendations of things I should be farming that are actually making money, trends. They're just amazing. I really can't sing their praises enough. I wish more people knew about the Farm Credit system, so that's why I get on here and shout about it to you guys. I also hope everybody is enjoying the owl on my vest. I thrifted this vest and I am quite fond of it for these very cold Arctic area that I am in, upstate New York. With that, I cover all things land loans, starting a farm with no effing idea what I am doing, working with the Amish, teaching myself farming, gardening. It'll be quite entertaining, so follow along and subscribe if you have not already. Bye!